We're going to take advantage of a few extra days with the rules, and with as many new bodies as we have, I think it's important that we get those in. I really, really like the team that we have going into the season. I'm excited about what I think our potential is. Have some hurdles that we got to cross. One of those being a tough starting schedule with Nebraska and Miami right out of the gate, but creates great opportunity. And then probably the biggest hurdles for us are 5 brand new starting O-linemen, which I'm sure there'll be some questions about, and then in the secondary, graduating 4 guys that have played a lot of snaps. But athletically, I really, really like where we're at. I think we've gotten longer, we've gotten bigger, we'll be more physical, I think more powerful up front than we've been in the past. I think we've got more length and space at the skill spots, and if we can coach those guys, get up and get them communicating together in the right way, I think the potential of our football team is a very, very good football team, and our goal is to find a way to win another conference title. 5 of the last 6 years we've been able to do that. We need to make that 6 out of 7. And then play well in non-conference play and put ourselves in a position to be the best team in the country in a group of 5. And I know those are huge goals, but that's exactly what we'll be talking about from day one. So with that, I'll answer any questions that you have. Not at all. He asked about the preseason polls and impact. We've kind of gotten used to being underdogs. We have not been picked to win the league ever that I'm aware of, and we've won it 5 out of the last 6. So it's just a position we feel comfortable in. If it adds some fuel to the fire to guys just feeling a little bit disrespected, then so be it. But the goal is the same regardless. If you start at the top, we're a lot more worried about where we finish than where we start. And you don't start playing conference games for a while anyway. We'll find out a lot about our team in the first 4 weeks.
Blake, you talked about the early start. Does that change some of the things you do early in the season as far as taking advantage of those rules? And the second real quick question, how excited, I guess happy were you to hear Carl talking about the future of the conference and getting teams into that group of 5 position?
Yeah, I like where the conference is at. I was in it before. With the years when it was kind of getting up and running, the quality of football in this league has changed dramatically since then. From top to bottom of our league, it's quality football. On any given week, you better bring your A game. You make some road trips to some of the places and have to play in front of other crowds, and you don't play your best, you're gonna lose. And so I think we've got a quality league. We showed that in bowl season. The way we played. To have the best of the group of 5 bowl records and be one of the best bowl records of any conference, I thought said a lot about how we finished last year and what we're going to carry into this season. We've never had 2-a-days. Honestly, since I've been a head coach, we've always taken advantage of a little bit less physical work on them, a little bit more mental work. So it won't change our schedule a lot. We're going to take advantage of a few extra days, but we've always incorporated a recovery day during the week. And we've always used kind of a practice and a walkthrough type scenario, and that's really what this new plan is about. Take away the 2-a-days, a recovery day during the week to help the guys' bodies, and then a little bit more mental work. So it's really no different than what we've been doing, with the exception of just a few extra days to do it in. And with as many new bodies as we have up front on the O-line and in the secondary, to me that's the most important. It just gives us a few extra days to get some mental preparation. Because I think going into the season at this point, every program in the country has their guys in great physical condition. They're there all summer. They're working with the strength staff, and they're prepared physically. This is more about the mental prep to get ready for the season.
Over here, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Marcel Pugh, Sports Inquirer. How much of a benefit, you mentioned replacing all the O-linemen, how much of a benefit is it to have a Hansen back second year with the program and him helping to guide that transition with your new guys up front? Yeah,
I'd hate to be replacing 5 O-linemen and a quarterback. I mean, I like the fact that you've got a veteran guy. I thought he played really well down the stretch, felt more and more comfortable with his role. He had a phenomenal spring. He grew up a lot. I thought, I stepped in and started coaching those guys, so I got to spend time with them. I thought he really matured through spring, turned the ball over twice, all spring ball, and we threw it a lot. So to me, I felt like he's grown up. He'll have a chance to, between him and Blake Mack and Warren Wan and a lot of the veteran skill guys, I think they'll be able to come around that O-line and help them. I love the way we look up front. I mean, we're bigger than we've ever been, longer and more powerful. You know, the question for us is how quickly we can get all 5 of those guys communicating together and playing like a group. You know, individually on paper they look great, and I love the athletic nature of it, but we got to get them all playing together. And you know, as we all know, we don't have any early weeks, you know, where we can expect to go out and overpower anybody. We're going to be playing really good people, so it's going to be a challenge.
And the commissioner was talking earlier today about playing Power 5 teams. You can start off with 2 of them, and then, you know, the next couple of years you guys have those on your schedules. What's that like to have that to start the season and just playing those 2 teams? Well,
again, huge challenge, but creates a tremendous amount of excitement to be able to travel to a place like Nebraska with the tradition and history they've had, to have a team, a brand like Miami coming in to play at our place. It doesn't happen all that often. Our fans turned out in record numbers a couple years ago for Missouri, and that thing came down to the wire. You know, hopefully one of these, if not both, are games that we can get over the hump and have that signature win. You know, we all want to be the best team in the group of 5. We want somebody from this league to represent the group of 5 in a New Year's Bowl. And to do that, you've got to play well in non-conference, and you've got to play against some big teams. It's kind of like we're playing in reverse. You know, the NFL plays playoffs at the end of the season. It's almost like we play them at the beginning. I mean, those games really matter because without some signature wins early, without playing, you know, 3-1, 4-0 in non-conference, you don't have that opportunity at the end of the year to be ranked high enough to be in that conversation. So I'm hoping this is the year we can get it done. I mean, that's why we schedule the way we schedule, to have the opportunity, if you play well and you have the non-conference success that you want to have, that you'll be in that top 25 conversation. That's the goal.
Jim Johnson, Southern Pigskin. Sunbelt's gone from 2 bowl teams in 2013 to 3, 4, 6 last year. Using that as a barometer, what do you attribute the conference's national relevance to?
Well, I think just the older we get as a league, and the more stability we have across the league, I think we've got more exposure, more recruits and families are able to watch our teams every week and realize it's quality football. So the athletic abilities just continue to raise. If you travel throughout our league, the facilities and the crowds and just the environment has raised over the years. And for a lot of years, people wanted to talk about us being at the bottom, and that's just not the case anymore. Obviously, we had the best record of bowls in terms of how we finished in the group of 5, and we finished, I think, 3rd out of the 5 in terms of the rankings at the end of the year. So we just continue to improve every year. And you can see that just by watching how we compete both inside conference but then outside of conference. We've had wins basically against every group of 5 team or league across the country, but then you look at Power 5 leagues, with some teams that we've beaten in the ACC, SEC, and Big 12 throughout the last few years. We need to do that more often to continue to get the looks, but that's where we're headed. I think that the quality of football being played in our league has never been better than it is right now.
Hey, Coach Anderson. Nicholas from Forgotten5.com. I was curious, you mentioned the goal of sort of being the best group of 5, getting into that playoff. And I know that in the future, hopefully the divisions and the conference championship will sort of settle this out some, but it looks like this will be another year possibly of yourself being one of the top teams, App State being one of the top teams, but you won't play each other during the season. Do you think that has any big effect on your ability to get there, or will that not be an issue?
Well, I mean, you can't worry about the guys you don't play. I mean, it is what it is. We were there a year ago, and so it's always the case the way where our league is set up right now, but you just got to worry about the people that you do play. If you can find a way to run the table in conference, at worst, you're going to share it. A year ago, we let a game slip late in the year and ended up sharing it with App. Had an opportunity, again, to run the table, and we played very poorly against Lafayette, and they took advantage of it. We're fortunate to be able to get a share of the league a year ago. But, I think you just have to deal with what you got in front of you. Try to run the table. To be able to represent the group of 5, I think we've got to anyway. I think we've got to go undefeated in the league and at least be 3-1, if not 4-0 in non-conference play. So I think we're all shooting for the same things, and there's several teams within our league that are good enough and capable to be in that conversation. It's all going to depend on how some of the head-to-head matchups go. And then, as you mentioned, if we don't play somebody else, just who had a signature win, who's looking the best down the stretch. And I'd like to think we get in a position where there's more than one of us to choose from.
With all three of your direct predecessors being, quote, one-and-dones, other than the contract stipulations, what's kept you in Jonesboro?
It's a great fit for me. It really is. I'm from the South. I was born in Jonesboro. But spent most of my career at small schools, working my way up to Division I, and then most of my Division I career in the Group of 5 level. And it just fits my personality. 2 years at North Carolina were really the only 2 years of Power 5 football I've been around. I loved it. I enjoyed it. But I'm perfectly comfortable in the shoes I'm in. We're not done. We got a lot of work left ahead of us. We truly want to bring that signature victory. We want to bring that signature season to Jonesboro. We love winning conference titles, and we want to continue to do that, but we do want to take that next step. And to me, I think stability is the key. When I took the job after Harsin left and looked at the roster, we had 54 guys on scholarship. That's what the transition had done to us. This has been a rebuilding process. Now, it hasn't looked like one at times because we've been able to win, but we're still only going to start fall camp with 75. We're still not a full-strength football team, and that's just all the transition has taken its toll. So I just continue to say, we got work still left to do, and I think even better football ahead of us. That's really, that and the community has kept me there.
Mike Eckenheimer, Baton Rouge Advocate. You talked about that Miami game coming to you. That's not really a trip that a lot of the big-name schools make, coming down to the Group of 5 schools. How did you pull that off, and what does it mean to have a national brand school like that come to you? Well,
Terry Mahajer, AD, is the one that he worked that deal out. It's been in the works for a while. We played Miami a few years back at their place, so it was the back end of a home and home. It was agreed upon in the beginning. I think at some point we were not real sure that they would stick with the contract, but they did. They stayed. They didn't buy out of it. They traveled to App State a year ago and played another game inside of our league. So it's not completely new. But to get that brand in Jonesboro, it's not happened very often. Missouri just a couple of years ago, and that you look back in recent history, that's about it. I think it's great for the fan base. They want to be excited about that game. It's gonna sell a lot of tickets. It gives us a tremendous opportunity to make a splash on a national scale. But obviously, it's a quality football team, and we'll have to play our best football to take advantage of it.